Another misconception about enlightenment is about the nature of its peace and happiness, because enlightenment is peace and happiness. But it's not quite the same as the peace and happiness that you experience in ordinary life, though it's not entirely unrelated either. So in ordinary life, you experience peace and happiness when you have a desire or a need, and it gets fulfilled, and that could include wanting a pain to go away. So the great Sri Ramana Maharishi, one of the most important sages in India in the 20th century, gave a great example of, on a hot day, coming from the hot sun into the shade. And that contrast we call colloquially happiness, but it's actually pleasure. It's a transitional, contrasting state from being in the hot sun, which was unpleasant. And conversely, if we go out of the shade back into the sun, we experience pain. And so this sort of pain-pleasure sequence is how we think of happiness and unhappiness in the normal sense. Enlightenment is not, cannot be, happiness in that transitional sense, because that would require a series of contrasts. Enlightenment is like if you had just stayed in the shade, if you had been born in the shade and never left the shade ever to go into that hot sun. That would be enlightenment. Non-transitional, non-contrasting happiness. And part of the advantage of that is that normal happiness is subject, even in its moment of greatest bliss, to that little fear in the back of your head that it could be taken away. And the truth is that it would be taken away from you at some point. All transitional happiness fades. So, enlightenment posits a bliss that you are, that does not fade, is completely secure, is utterly perfect, and is not contrasted with any pain. And here's the kicker. You actually have both experiences going on simultaneously. The bliss of enlightenment is not incompatible with pain and pleasure. In fact, there's bliss to be found in both pain and pleasure from the standpoint of enlightenment, because enlightenment is about the bliss of being. And both pain and pleasure are objects of awareness. So, just be aware that the true bliss of enlightenment is not the same as the bliss you experience when you eat a delicious slice of chocolate cake.